Hi, and welcome to CreativeChelsey. Today I'd like to share with you the March 2020 Paper Pumpkin Kit, No Matter the Weather. Now, Paper Pumpkin is a subscription kit which you receive monthly, and it gives you all the supplies you need to create the design cards. So here are the cards that you can make this month with the kit. Now, what I like to do is take the supplies and change them up a bit and create alternative card ideas. So here are my card ideas that I came up with. And what I've done is I've taken the supplies needed to make this card, and I have created two cards from one. So let's go ahead and get started with this card. The first thing you need to do is get the card base that comes in the kit, and we're going to cut it in half. So grab your paper trimmer, and at 3.5 inches, go ahead and trim this card so that you just have this front piece. Next, we're going to trim it again, and we're going to trim it at 2 3/4 inches. And this is going to be right up against that hand. And you may get a little bit of pink left over on this piece, and we're going to hide that with a rhinestone, so don't worry about it. So we're just going to use this piece for the card, as well as the punched out die cut of the rain boots. So for this piece, we're going to remove just the green pair of boots for this card. So go ahead and grab your paper snips, and you're just going to trim around these green boots. And you can follow the pre-cut line as well. And then just kind of squeeze, try to squeeze in between those boots, the blue and the green one, and then come on down and cut around those toes. Okay. So the other pieces we need for this card include a Saffron card base, and this is 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches and scored at 4 1/4. We're going to need an envelope. It's the Saffron envelope, and then a piece of Calypso Coral, and this piece is 1/2 inch larger than this piece all the way around. So I think that means that it is 3 1/4 by 4 inches. You can find all the dimensions for the cardstock in the description box below. So let's go ahead and grab our paper trimmer again, and we're going to trim about 1/16 of an inch off the on each side of this envelope, and that's going to help us separate the envelope into two pieces. And I would go ahead and save this top piece because we're going to cut that, and that's going to end up being cut at about 3.5. And you can get another strip that's about 1.5 inches wide from this top piece of the envelope, so don't throw this away. So you can notice there's a little bit of a larger border of white right here. So if that bothers you, go ahead and just trim that off. Okay, so we also are using this for our card. So now that we have all the cardstock, we can go ahead and do some stamping. So we're going to use the grass stamp from the stamp set in the kit, and you're going to ink it up with Pear Pizzazz, and you're going to start by stamping in the front. And go ahead and you can go over the boots a little bit and then do a second one without re-inking right over those boots. And then we're going to go ahead and do one more right up here on the right side of the boots, just so we have a little higher of some grass back there. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to use that line image that's kind of like a puddle, and we're going to use it in two colors. We're going to start with the gray granite and do some puddles under the boots, and then just kind of move it away. And then repeat with the Balmy Blue. So make sure to clean your stamp between those two colors. So ink it up again and do the same thing. The last thing we need to stamp is the greeting, and we're going to do that with the gray granite. And this is the color that comes in the paper pumpkin kit. So we're going to be stamping that on the circle die cut that comes in the kit. And we're going to be using the No Matter the Weather, we're in this together. And just stamp that right in the center. When that's dry, we can go ahead and adhere this to our card, and it's just going to go right next to those boots, and you do want it to come off your paper just slightly. The next thing we want to do is wrap some twine around our card, and we're going to use 15 inches of twine. Okay, so we've cut 15 inches of twine, and we're going to tie a bow. So go ahead and wrap that around your card. And then tie a knot. And then go ahead and tie a bow. And then you're just going to shift that bow to the left, just so it's underneath your greeting. And you can use a glue dot to keep it in place so it doesn't cover your greeting too much. And then you can trim off any excess tails. We're now going to add the green boots that we trimmed out from the group. We're going to do that with some dimensionals. And I've just got some mini dimensionals, and I'm going to place one at the bottom and one at the top. Go ahead and just place those over the original green boots so that you have kind of this popped up image. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp some of the raindrops on the background here, and we're just doing it randomly, not all over, and we're going to stamp them in Balmy Blue. So we've gone ahead and stamped some raindrops. So we've got our card base in So Saffron. We're going to add the So Saffron envelope to the front. And do that at an angle. And I've got a crease here, and I'm just going to push that out so that it's a little bit smoother. Then take your Calypso Coral. Now in my original card, I have used a smooth piece, and for this card, I want to try it with the subtle embossing folder, which I've tried here on my second card, just to give it a little bit more texture. So I'm going to place that inside the folder and then run that through my Big Shot. Okay, so that just gives it a really nice subtle background texture. I think I'm gonna go, oh, it doesn't really matter. So you're going to add this next at an angle, kind of an opposite angle to what you had with your yellow envelope. So now we're going to add this to our card, and we're going to place dimensionals on the back. So you want to add this to the center of your card. So do your best to kind of eyeball where the center is, and then press down. And I'm going to add a glue dot here underneath my bow just to hold it in place. like that. The last thing I want to add are a couple of the raindrops that came in the kit. They're these epoxy raindrops, and they're very tiny. So you want to add them to places that you're going to see. So I'm going to place them here in the sky, a kind of 2 up in the sky, and then 1 on the greeting. Okay, so that card is all done. Don't miss out on the fun. Subscribe by April 10th to receive next month's Paper Pumpkin Kit. It will be a fun family appreciation themed card kit that will make it easy for you to share your heart with those you love most. So let's go ahead and move to card number 2. So for this card, we're using that second piece that we cut off, and we're going to stamp some grass on this one as well. So get your grass image and your pear pizzazz, and you're going to stamp just some background grass, and then maybe do a second level up higher. And then I'm going to use this piece of the envelope. So this is one of the pieces that we cut off, and I just want to stamp 1 grass on here, and we're going to fussy cut that out. Before we do that, I want to finish stamping, and we're going to add some clouds with gray granite. And we'll just do 1 on the left, and then 1 down on the right. And then get out the Balmy Blue again with the raindrops. And you're just going to place some raindrops around. It looks like I'm getting some whatever that's called, some transfer of the ink from the edges of my clear blocks. And so I'm going to have to try and hide that a little bit. Okay, so just randomly do a couple of raindrops. I could probably, let's do this. Get the gray granite again if you have this same problem, and just ink up one edge of that cloud, and then just line up an edge with that line, and then it kind of goes with that cloud a little bit. Okay, the last thing we need to stamp is our greeting, and we're doing that in basic gray again. And we've got a strip of Whisper White, and it's a 3/4 inch strip by 3.5 inches. And we're using the Wishing You Brighter Days Ahead stamp. And all these stamps came with the kit. And you're just going to stamp this on the left side and center it. And that is all our stamping for this card. All right, so let's go ahead and get this grass image that we stamped, and you're just gonna fussy cut this out. Okay, so we have 2 images of the grass that we're going to use, and the other thing we need to do is we're gonna just trim down this pair of boots. Now the boots are the blue ones that were on the left of the green ones. And honestly, you could use any one of these colors. So if you'd like to use a different color that doesn't necessarily keep the card in that monochromatic scale, you're welcome to choose any one of these colors. And I will be coming up with some other projects that use these boots as well. So if you want to just stick with the blue ones, you can too. So just trim these down. And then the last thing before we can assemble everything is our Balmy Blue cardstock. And I think this is 3.5 inches by 4.25. And we're going to run this through the Settle embossing folder as well. Okay, so we've embossed that with the embossing folder. And so we're now ready to put our card together. We've got a piece of thick Whisper White cardstock, and that's just your normal card base size. And we're going to add the Balmy Blue cardstock to the center. So go ahead and eyeball where the center is for that. Next, we're going to add our image. And this is going to go on the right side. And we're going to place it really close to this Balmy Blue cardstock, but we want the top and the bottom to be about the same distance. Then we're going to add one of our grass images that we fussy cut and just place that a little bit higher than the bottom, kind of at the same level as those other grasses that you stamped. Then on our strip, we're going to add the second grouping of grass and just place that near the right side and have it come down a little bit so you can see that difference in the bottom. And then let's go ahead and turn it over, and we're going to add 15 inches of twine, and we're going to wrap that around and place that on the back. So just wrap that around the tip of your fingers until the pieces kind of come together. And then you can just add that. And we're kind of focusing that on the right side of the strip. So you're not going to be placing it all like in the middle. It's mostly on the right side. Okay. Then you can add some dimensionals. And then this gets placed on our card. It's going to line up with each side of the Balmy Blue cardstock. And you want just a little bit of this border down here to peek out from underneath. And then next you're going to add your boots with another dimensional. And just place that near the grass. And then the last thing we're going to add are some rhinestones. So I used one of the larger rhinestones to cover up this little bit of Calypso Coral color that you can see here. And so I'm just going to use that over that. And then the medium I place down here in the corner, and then the small is up here by the large. Okay, so there is our second card. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, like, and share. Visit CreativeChelsey.com for more information about Paper Pumpkin and to start getting your monthly kit. Have a creative day. Bye.